Hello, Facebook world. My name is Dan Hartman. I'm the director of the Glensheen Mansion here in Duluth, Minnesota. And yeah, I'm here today to talk about the library at Glensheen. My children are behind me, so you may hear them talking. They have their headphones on, so they may be louder than normal. Anyways, so here's my actual real fire going. I didn't make this up. It is a real fireside chat. Just because he wanted to be nerdier. Plus, I will say I am also wearing my undergrad research shirt. When I was an undergrad at UMD, my senior paper was on the grounds of Glensheen. So my love of Glensheen goes way back. As I've said in these past lives, please, if you have comments, make them. I think it's great to hear. And at the end of this, I will definitely try to answer all comments that I hear. And any question, I will try to answer. And I will be watching them throughout. So, that being said, let's dig in. So, today we are going to be talking about the Glensheen Library. Once again, a lot of these photos were taken by Brian French, a local photographer here in Duluth. And I think he did a great job with some amazing macro shots of things that people typically don't see. So, he kind of went beyond the rope, actually with a staff member, and took photographs that really only we're allowed to get close to. And so, here are some of those things which I think are pretty great. Hi, Jill from Indiana. Wow, that's pretty awesome. Let's pull this up. Oops. Not what I want. So you can see this right now. This is the library that you're used to. This is the visual. These are the images you can pull right off of our website. But today we're going to dive a little deeper. So this is that classic fireplace shot. And if you look a little closer, these are the andirons. And what's great is when you get these close-up shots, you can really see the detail. And once again, this is just the andirons for the fireplace. You can also see, and we've tried it, actually it's gotten a lot better, but those little white marks are from us trying to polish it over the years and some of that polish being stuck in there. This is way better looking than it was more recently. We actually have to do all of this polishing and cleaning with large bamboo, look at toothpicks, and then we slowly scrape out all these little crevices throughout these statues. I just think this is a kind of a fun image of the standing on the gentleman's head, clearly a masculine sign. And then this here, look at the face on the shield, by the way, too. Something people usually don't see though is the little billow and the little picture of the goat on the front, which I think is kind of fun. Now, it is a library. And so one of the things I wanted to show off today was just the wide variety of books that are in this collection. And I think like a lot of people, when they build a house like this, they ordering sets or works. And it'll take up like half of the library or more. The Condons were absolutely avid readers, but I do think a lot of the books were purchased just to fit into the library. But here is the classic Dickens novels. Here are the works of Stevenson. So once again, Dr. Jekyll and Hyde on the far right over here. And then, the Kidnapped, Stevenson. And I love that the Condons have inserted their own stuff in addition to these collections that they purchase. One of the weird features of the library that I bet 98% of the visitors miss is that the theme for the room is birds. And so all throughout the decor in this room are birds. And so this is one of the pieces you probably missed. And you can see it in the background here, the birds right there. But also you see this beautiful chandelier made by Cobwell and Company out of New York. And this is that Kazel glass that I talked about before. Look at the statuette in here as well. Once again, Brian French did a great job photographing this. I just love the detail in the statue. I love the different metals you can actually see here in the headset. This is our famous anaglypto ceiling. So once again, this is the ceiling. Look at the detail in just the ceiling. I think this is kind of amazing. These little heads, little baby heads that you see on this lamp. This is a close-up shot of the turn on the little bird where she, it's like a wind-up. I can't think of the basic word right now, but like a sing-along bird. Here's some more of the books in the library. Because the family loved to travel, you have a lot of travel books throughout the library. What I think is great about the travel books is you can tell these were not part of a set. This really goes along with their natural interest, and so you have so many of their travel books, and they'll write their opinions of that all throughout. Here is the toolkit for the fireplace, and look at the detail of all the figurines in the toolkits. Look at like the mythical figure here on the end. All of these pieces go together. And then once again, more travel books. Personally, one thing I think is kind of fun with these old books is there's just more attention to detail on the covers. And so on the side spines here, you really see kind of this beautiful embossment. And I mean, if you could touch it, the layers and the texture, especially on these here, are amazing. Yeah. And you can kind of see it in this one. But you have it in this one as well. And then you have it in these here. But I just love the title too. The Ruined Abbeys of Great Britain. The Government of England. That's less exciting. Our European Neighbors, Italian Life in Town and Country. Lewis and Clark journals over here, which I think are kind of fun. The Spell of the Italian Lakes. The Track of the Moors. I kind of wish there was a photograph right now to show you, but this in the Track of the Moors, the front of that book is gorgeous too. It's one of the ones we typically will lay out on the table just because I think it's worth looking at. And then the original journals of Lewis and Clark, kind of one of these sets that probably filled the shelf. But based on their interest in travel in general, I would be not surprised if they actually read these. Once again, I mean, the romance of the Colorado River in and around the Grand Canyon. I think today we read a lot of travel novels, and we don't really envision that so many people in the 1900s had that same like wanderlust that we still have today, especially a lot of us trapped in our houses right now. We really think about traveling, and that was definitely the case of them as well. There's this globe inside the library, and when you take a look at it, you'll see that a lot has changed in world geography. So let's take a look at that here in a second. Some more bird books. The history of Carnegie Steel. I mean, the history was really, in some ways, still being written at that time. My favorite collection to show off to folks actually is these Edgar Allan Poes. They're a limited set, but also the illustrations inside of them are just classic dark Edgar Allan Poe, and just I think one of the coolest things to show off, frankly. Yep. So I can't think of the basic names here. These are two of our taller statues in the house. They used to be up on the landing, and now we've brought them down here. Now, one of the details that sometimes goes missing is you'll notice that on the right side of the pocket door is the fumed white oak of the hallway. But on the left is that mahogany to match the library. And that just shows you just the level of detail in this house. And once again, more of those birds. And back to the globe. So notice most of China is Tibet and Mongolia. I mean, a lot clearly has changed in world geography. I like this one. I like the local. So break it down here. You can actually see how the globe thought of Minnesota and Lake Superior. And I love one of the few cities that had listed. It was Duluth. So there we go. I think that's good. St. Cloud, Minneapolis. St. Paul is almost like it's in Wisconsin. And here's what Europe looked at the time of this globe. Vastly different. In the Middle East. Yeah. Kind of like the old telephone directory of its time. And then in the inside cover of almost all of the books in the library are these book plates. And so that way the Condons would know which library of theirs it came from. And so this is from the library of Chester A. Condon of Glensheen. And the book plate, it looks like it was drawn by Marjorie Condon, the oldest daughter. You can see here MC here on the bottom right, and she actually does have a degree in fine art. See the Tudor roses here to maybe go with the Glensheen. A little sidetrack. When we redid the logo a few years ago, I spent a lot of time trying to convince folks and myself that the logo that we should use for Glensheen would match this, to have more of that almost gothic / arts and crafts / arts and nouveau theme. And in the end, I think no one would have really got it. We would have spent too much time explaining it. And so we went with what we did, which you can see in the top right corner over here. But still, it would have been cool to go that really nerdy historic way. Also, this showcases how really the image that the Condons wanted you to see and of what was real importance to them was that Tisher Creek corridor and the Stone Arch Bridge and then the house in the background. Today, so much of the focus is on the mansion, but really the family and visitors back then spent a lot of time on Tisher Creek. Here are some leftovers of the book plates tied up. There's probably a stack of a few hundred. So in one of the drawers in the library are actually these photographs from a newspaper, actually from the Mackenzie photography studio in Duluth, of the 1918 fire. So for folks like us who are all going through this COVID crisis right now, imagine Duluth just gets the Spanish flu, and then days after this fire happens, and it's just a terrible tragedy for Duluth and Cloquet. This is in the Moose Lake area where they had to drive the cars into the lake to get away from the fire. This is the Homecroft School just on the outskirts of Duluth. It's, completely destroyed. This is what the interstate bridge looked like in the city of Duluth. This is the armory, and you can see everyone gathered together trying to get away from that fire. Now remember, they just went to lockdown from the Spanish flu, and so the Spanish flu just explodes because everyone hangs out together like this. This is, just an example of the cars. This is the Northland Country Club here in the Lakeside neighborhood, East Duluth. This is the classic, moving on, but this is a photograph album that we found in the library. I love you can see the texture of the leather. Great photograph by Brian French. This is one of the photos of Chester on one of his travels inside of that. This is one of his postcards that he has in Tokyo, Japan. I love that Tokyo is spelled Tokio. I can see it on the bottom left from 1915. And then you actually have it being sent to Chester. And then I love that inside the library there is an antique version of Clue. No joke. There's also the game Sorry as well. And there is my deep dive of the library. Hopefully that was of interest to folks. And if you have any questions, feel free to let me know. I guess that was boring according to my son, Liam. Or I guess maybe a different movie. Let me look at the questions real quick. Thanks for everyone saying hi. It's always kind of fun to see where people are coming from, so that's cool. I wish I knew what the book plates look like at their other libraries. I think that would be great to know. And honestly, I might ask that question next time I see some of the Condons who might know. I didn't see any when I was at West Home. Otherwise, that's it. But otherwise, thank you guys for watching today. If you have, once again, suggestions for other deep dives you want me to do, let me know. I know one of the ones I've been debating that I'd love your opinion on is the 1918 Spanish flu when it hits Duluth. I think it's an interesting topic. Maybe it's just not that interesting to this audience. Maybe too nerdy. Let me know. But, it's talked about in Clara's diary, and it would be kind of fun to tell a little more about that story. So I hope all is well, and have a good week, everybody. Happy Monday. Bye.